Sim racing day today with Assetto Corsa Competizione and the Yaw2 motion simulator plus the Fanatec DD Pro wheel and pedal set. It's Peter from the Yaw team, and let's test this simulator. First, let's look at the game engine and check what we set up. It's a basic setup, but it's pretty good and feels immersive, so let's see.
This is just a basic setup, but what we have calibrated ourselves to our preferences, but it feels pretty good in the simulator. I really miss the gear forces though, so that's one thing I'm gonna have to contact the developers about, make these forces available to us, and then we can adjust that one as well. But in the meantime, it's even without the gear forces, it's pretty much enjoyable, the simulator. So what we have here is the acceleration z-axis set up to the pitch, and this multiplier is pretty high. It is set up for the acceleration, the positive, and we applied a pretty high smoothing here so that you can feel the acceleration not just for a single moment but for like a longer time span. And then we have set up the acceleration separately for braking, so deceleration, with a similarly and relatively high multiplier, but we have removed or lowered the smoothing for this so that you can feel the abrupt braking force. And then what we have is the RPM, of course, for some vibration from the engine. We also have the x-axis acceleration, which is good for gear shifting, so you have this kind of shaky motion when you shift gears. And then we have the heading set up to the yaw axis of the simulator, which is, well, mostly useful when we're doing some drifting or traction loss. And then we have the simple pitch and roll axis to the pitch and roll axis set up with a multiplier of 1, so the classic fancy here. As you can see, it's pretty basic. It's very basic. Probably there's more room to tinkle around even with these inputs, but I definitely look forward to having the gear forces as an input in our game engine, and then we will obviously publish another video about this.
So let's try this in practice. Let's try the settings in practice. Let's roll. Like, as I always say, I'm not a sim racer, I'm not a racer. I think you know that, I think you will see that. But anyways, I hope that I can convey the message to you and provide some useful feedback about the simulator and the accessories that I use. So first of all, I love the steering wheel. I always loved it. The force feedback gives so much extra to the experience. And second, the simulator, so different surfaces, different vibration. Even though what I'm missing here, so I get the different vibration from the different surfaces, I feel something, but I really miss the gear forces. I'm pretty sure about that we can get the gear forces somehow from the game, because that must be present somewhere. I mean, actually the force feedback changes with different surfaces as well, so it feels kind of obvious that you get these data somewhere in the game. So hopefully very soon we can get the data and apply it and then provide you another video. So one more thing about the immersive experience, like I already mentioned, the force feedback wheels pretty good. The motion, except for the gear forces, but we're gonna cover that later, is the last thing I want to mention is the seat belts. I mean, at first I thought that it wouldn't add a thing to this experience because this is just a seat belt. I'm not gonna fall out, it's not gonna protect me or whatever. But then I realized that people talking about it in comments and emails and whatnot are actually, well, they got the point that it is not for safety. It's because it feels more immersive. Once, like on the one hand, it's because like I'm getting a little bit of the force from here, like I'm getting strapped to the chair. That's one thing that's pretty good. That adds to the feeling. But the other thing that's related is that I cannot really compensate with my body, because I would do that. Probably anyone would do that in this game. And since I cannot do that, probably that's the reason that it adds to this experience. So I can absolutely recommend this this accessory. It's just a basic 4-point seat belt. Not a big deal, but once you try it, you realize that this is pretty good. I really love the motion of the simulator, and yeah, I can feel the vibration when I go off the road. But also, what's my favorite is the acceleration and deceleration or braking forces, because in the pitch you can actually feel a lot about it. It's happening when I'm accelerating or decelerating, and it feels like in real life. I mean, I'm getting pushed back in the seat, and that feels awesome, man. I mean, really. And whenever I push the brakes, oh yeah, and that's even without the gear forces, that's pretty good. And when I push the brake with some speed applied, and I immediately get pushed to the front. I'm leaning towards the front, and that also adds a lot to the immersion. Definitely almost first place, like not first place, but the feedback, the force feedback of the wheel is very helpful and feels very, very good. Otherwise, I also like the motion of the simulator. I also like the roll. You don't really feel it, but if you don't have the roll and the yaw applied, you feel the lack of it. So that's why I call it's realistic. That's why I think it's realistic, because obviously I haven't lost traction of the car at such a speed, but I mean, it feels kind of good, and especially when hitting the walls, it kicks you a little bit, which, yeah, obviously it would be a much bigger kick in real life. I wouldn't want to try it, but this, like, you get some like feeling of crashing something, hitting something, and that's pretty good. And also, like, once again, losing traction, that's, yeah, pretty good. I think we can also try some like real racing, not just a practice track, but let's see how I manage to cope with the opponents on this track. Here we are again, and it's gonna be like, oh, okay, shit. Anyways, and it's gonna be the Nurburgring, if I'm correct. Yeah, the same track, but with opponents now. I set the aggressiveness pretty high. Oh shit, I kinda crashed them. Oh yeah, it would change later, because I'm really looking forward to crashing these cars. Obviously, because that's one more thing that I can check in the motion of the simulator. So let's go and see how they behave with the aggressive behavior. Oh shit!
On the left.
Wow, that was realistic. I mean, probably, yeah, it turned out to be that I lost this fight, but I felt the crashing, I felt losing traction, I felt everything here due to the motion, and that, yeah, it feels awesome. Wow, man, it's way better than the practice section. Let's see, what can I do? Whoa. Yeah. Okay. think I was hit in the back by this car.
Car on the right. Clear on the
Right,
right.
yeah. I can see him in the mirror, man. Yeah, and yeah, talking about the game, I love the graphics. It's so good. I wasn't actually surprised by this because I played the Assetto Corsa before, like not the Competizione one, but the other, and I loved it. I loved it as well. I think this is a pretty good game. Very enjoyable, very good graphics. You can customize the opponents a lot. So yeah.
Car on the right.
Wow.
Clear on the right.
Shit. Man, I lost again, but man, this feels awesome. What the hell?
Slow car ahead.
When they are really aggressive, but that's what I was looking for. Even though I lose, I mean, I was just looking for this feeling of getting hit by another car or hitting another car, and that's really like it's kicking me back. And yeah, probably I may be last. Yeah, I'm kind of last, but it doesn't really matter. I was hit, so yeah, I lost traction control. Okay, so as you can see, back into the boring practice track. Boring, but just as useful, because, yeah, I need that. Anyways, I loved fighting the opponents in the quick race session. I loved getting the feeling, and let me just conclude today's video with the feelings that I got. So the immersiveness, the immersion is like amazing, especially with the opponents. Like with the practice track, you get some of the feeling as well. It's pretty good, and you need the practice. But with the opponents, like when I'm getting hit in the back and lose the traction and lose control of the car, that feels so very good. I mean, that's really feels realistic. I'm feeling the exact instant that I'm getting hit. I'm feeling the losing control effect, and yeah, this all adds up to a pretty good overall experience. It's very fun, guys. So once again, it was Assetto Corsa Competizione with the Yaw2 motion simulator, the Fanatec wheels, and me at the wheels with mediocre skills. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got some of the feeling that I get here, because it feels like very awesome. It's way different than playing at a simple desktop. So it feels so much different. You're gonna want to try it. Like, you really. So once again, thank you for your attention. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Hopefully with the gear forces applied already. Cheers, guys. And I think I will continue playing for a little while now, because I really enjoy this, man.